Hello and welcome to VR Vertigo. So today I'd like to discuss Sony and the fact that it appears to have just woken up. Like a sleeping giant, fat and satisfied with the success that it's got, it's realised that VR is a thing. That the PSVR 1 and the market that Sony helped create with that headset didn't die. It's happening right now. And so with its commitment to VR, it developed the PSVR 2, but seemed to do so begrudgingly, as though the PSVR 2 headset was now the unfavoured child. Oh, we've got to do it because we did the 1, let's do the 2, and let's just let it die naturally on its own. And then soon nobody will remember the PSVR or the PSVR 2. But that's not who we are as customers and VR enthusiasts. No, we don't forget. And we hold grudges. But that aside, Sony appears to have picked the ball up again. I wonder why. Well, it's not difficult, is it really? Because over the last 2 years, more VR headsets are being developed than you can shake a shitty stick at. It's clear VR isn't going away, and the unfavoured child is slowly becoming favoured again. So, as I say, Sony have just woken up. They've seen the ball that is VR, picked it up, and have started running with it. Pell-mell, hell for leather, at breakneck speed to who knows where, frankly. But what we do know is somewhere there's a finish line, and PSVR 2 must be part of the race. It helped create the market, for God's sake. Without Sony and PSVR 1, VR wouldn't be in the great position that it's in now. And it's much to Sony's credit that they've decided to start releasing games. As reported by the excellent Polish Paul VR YouTube channel, the lineup of games on PlayStation appears to be getting bigger. The titles that are coming out for the PSVR 2 are many and varied. There are, of course, the usual problems with shovelware. But for the most part, even though I'm not interested in 90% of the games being released by Sony for the PSVR 2, the ecosystem as a whole is benefiting. I still maintain on a personal level that I want the GTA series in VR. I want the Assassin's Creed series in VR. I want Splinter Cell in VR. I'd play the old versions. You wouldn't even have to refresh them. Just give me the old games in VR. On controller, fine, not a problem. I'm not really bothered about VRAF. I know many people are, but no. If it means that I can play the games that I want to play, I'll play them on controller, and I'll do so happily. However, hand tracking in Splinter Cell might be quite nice. So this brings me nicely onto the Steam Frame, the new kid on the block, the enfant terrible of VR headsets. There's a whole conversation about whether the Steam Frame is going to be too weak and too expensive. The same conversation is being had about the Steam Machine. VR is crying out now for capable headsets, and the very nature of VR means capability is everything. We are learning as VR is being born that quality, specifically image quality, is the bar by which everything is measured. The amount of times I've heard reviews and pundits speak about, well, it's not very clear, most notably Linus from Linus Tech Tips, when trying the Steam Frame, actually said that. But we've seen from the Quest, you can do all kinds of magic. You can literally elevate a headset. It can be a different animal a year down the line than it was on launch. PSVR 2 is the same. a whole series of features which, admittedly, most game developers for VR2 aren't implementing because apparently the PSVR2 is hard to develop for. But if it's worth having, it's worth putting the extra work into. I recently watched AJ from PSVR Underground, another great channel. He tested his PS5 Pro with his headset and was blown away playing No Man's Sky, his favourite game, or one of his favourite games at least. I watched with great interest as he waxed lyrical, as he oohed and ahed about the various environments. And it was a pleasure to watch. The bottom line is that PSVR2 has clarity in spades when the developers can be bothered developing correctly for it. And that, we're shown time and time again, when they do develop correctly for it, we get great gaming experiences. I think that Steam have done something crucial here, and not just by releasing the Steam Frame. The release of the Steam Frame has had the effect, in my opinion, of poking the sleeping giant that is Sony, of saying, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. And with the recent release of games to the PSVR2 lineup, it appears as though Sony do think they're hard enough. But everybody likes the new hotness, and Sony does have a little bit of a hill to climb. I have been saying recently how historically Sony have really just not given the PSVR2 the love and attention that it deserves. Unfavoured children really do. But now, with the Steam Frame, Mama and Papa Sony have looked down on their unfavoured child and thought, maybe it's not so ugly after all. So I say, huzzah! The release of the Steam machine appears to have reignited the console wars, and the release of the Steam Frame appears to have started a skirmish with the now newly favoured child. Sony has woken up and decided, do you know what? This is worth going for. And I'm totally for it. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share. And until next time, bye bye.